Chambly. Of course, they filed a petition, or I should say more correctly, a petition was filed on behalf of one of the residents. Thank you. I have the quietest voice in politics, which never works to your advantage, and I apologize in advance. But a petition was received by the city of Chambly. I think that's probably more accurate to say. Filed by a resident by the name of Bill Blumberg. I guess he was the one who took lead on this. Bill's right here in the second row. Yep. And of course, there are lots of questions that have been coming up regarding the annexation. And so tonight is an opportunity to hear, I guess, more of the legal perspective. So we have with us this evening Mr. Matt Welch. He's one of the county attorneys. We also have Mr. Zach Williams. He's the Chief Operating Officer of DeKalb County, and so if there's any technical questions or process or policy questions that come up, he'll be here able to help. Want to also introduce, and if you guys wouldn't mind standing, Chief Ramos, our Chief of Police. Mr. Chuck Ellis, he's our Director of Parks and Recreation. We have Miss Tracy Hutchins. She is the Sanitation Director. Mr. Cedric Hudson, he's the Director of Community Development. We have Mr. Rick Lemke. He's in charge of roads and drainage. And we also have our Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Michael Thurman here, who is with us this evening as well. All right, with that being said, the intention ultimately is to give an opportunity for people to speak up. If you have questions, this will be an opportunity for some questions and answers as well. First, though, what I'd like to begin with is ask Mr. Welch, if you wouldn't mind, if you could sort of give everyone an update or an understanding of this annexation method that is happening right now, and what are the requirements for it. Thank you.
All right, can everybody hear me? Okay. Good evening, everybody. My name is Matt Welch. I am the Deputy County Attorney in DeKalb County. Happy to be here with you tonight. As my presiding officer indicated, I am here to talk to you a little bit about the annexation procedure generally under Georgia law, and then how this particular annexation application is moving forward and where it sits in the process today. So, it's important to understand that annexation in Georgia is governed by state law. Cities and counties have roles in the process, but the rules of the process are set by state law. Part of the county's role is ensuring that those rules are followed. Simply stated, annexation is exactly what it sounds like. It's a city adding property to its existing borders. Georgia law allows 4 methods for annexation into an existing city. I'm going to talk about the first 3 real briefly, and then we'll concentrate on the 60% method, which is the method being utilized by the application pending in Chambly today. So first, the General Assembly can, of its own volition, adopt a local act that changes a city's borders. If the legislature takes an act of that nature, a referendum is required if more than 500 persons are affected by that annexation, or if the city's population would increase by more than 3%. The second method is a city-driven resolution process where the city can attempt to amend its own borders and draw in contiguous properties that touch its existing borders. That method also requires a referendum of the voters in the affected area. So if a city adopts a resolution of that nature, folks who are proposed to be annexed in the city get a vote. The third method is the 100% annexation method. That would be a property that you own outright, or you and a neighbor. Again, there are requirements that you touch that city border and a few other requirements, but essentially 100% owners can petition a city to join. The city follows a process pretty similar to the 60% method, but importantly, 100% of the owners of those properties have consented and made that request of the city. This petition is moving under what's known as the 60% method. Under this method, residents an application to be considered by the city in the 60% method has to have the consent of 60% of the resident electors, so the folks in the annexed area registered there to vote, as well as 60% of the owners of the land by acreage. So it's not 60% of the owners outright, it's the owners of 60% of the land in the area to be annexed. Both those requirements must be met. It's not an either or. It's 60% of both categories in order for the application to be legally viable. There are a couple of other conditions, things I've already mentioned, like the land must be contiguous, or in other words, touching the existing city. The annexation cannot leave behind an unincorporated island, a piece of unincorporated county completely surrounded by or inaccessible because of where the city is located. And another requirement is that all consents, the signatures on all consents submitted, must be gathered within a 1-year period. That period is measured from the date of the first signature collected. Importantly, there is no referendum required in the 60% method, and there is no opportunity for individuals living in the annexed area or within the city to record a no vote or an opposition to the proposed annexation. So what happens when an application of this nature is filed? It starts with the city. The application is presented to the city, and the city has a duty under the law to verify that the petition, the application, meets the requirements I've just laid out. State law says that the city should verify the signatures of the electors by requesting a list of voters in that area from the county's Board of Registration and Elections. The city is also to verify the owner signatures and that the other requirements like contiguity, no existing islands, things of that nature have all been met. If the city determines that those requirements have been met, the application is then forwarded to the county. From the date of receipt by the county has 45 days to review that application itself and to consider whether it wants to interpose an objection to the proposed annexation. State law also governs the grounds on which the county can object. Those grounds are fairly limited and mostly apply to things like intensification of land use, density, or zoning, and the impacts that those types of intensification of uses have on county's existing infrastructure. So again, the county is kind of the gatekeeper to ensure, the city is the initial gatekeeper to make sure that the application meets the statutory requirements, and then the county looks at the impact that the proposed annexation is going to have on what the portions of the county that remain and the portions, roads and sewers and things of that nature that will be within the annexed area but remain under county control. The city also must hold a public hearing on the annexation somewhere in the neighborhood, somewhere between 15 and 45 days after they accept and pass that item on to the county. Consenting property owners and voters do have the ability to withdraw their consents should they change their minds. That ability to withdraw runs until the third day after the public hearing on the matter is held by the city in question. If all of these requirements have been met, the city may then approve an annexation. If not objected to by the county, the annexation becomes effective on the first day of the month following that action by the city for services purposes. In other words, services that one would get from the county transition to the city in large part within a month. And for tax purposes, the properties move on January 1st of the next year. January 1st is a magic day in property tax law. So if an objection is made, however, the city and county work with the state to arrange an arbitration panel. And that arbitration, which is like a mini trial, everybody presents their sides, and the arbitration panel determines what's in the best interest of the citizens in the annexed area. And after that arbitration takes place, normally that's when an annexation becomes effective, with restrictions put in place by that arbitration panel. So that's kind of the process. The city accepts. After verification, the city sends to the county double checks, the county looks at potential land use and other objections, and then the county will determine whether to interpose an objection. If one is interposed, we work with the state to have an arbitration. No objection is interposed, the city is free to adopt and move forward. So that's the general law. What happened here and where are we in the process? As we've already said, this application is moving forward under the 60% method. So it requires 60% of the voters living in the area to be annexed, as well as 60% of the owners as measured by acreage. So here on Halloween, on October 31st this year, Chamblee held a special call meeting of its city council and accepted this current application. As the presiding officer indicated, this application was filed by Mr. Bill Blumberg, who I understand is here with us tonight. The application seeks the annexation of approximately 688 acres and 2,400 additional residents into the city of Chamblee. This would be the largest annexation under the 60% method in the history of Georgia law. Notice of the request for annexation was mailed to the CEO after that meeting. That notice included 1,400 pages of documents purporting to show required consents had been obtained. The application states on its face that the approval of owners of 61.43% of the acreage by owner and 61.7% of the resident electors have consented. The application also states that the required consents were gathered between November 2022 and October of 2023. However, if any of you have been online to try to review, verify, or take a look at this petition yourself, what you will see is that there is no accounting of the acreage by the consenting owners provided. That makes verification of the purported percentage an arduous task at best. There's also no information provided to the county on what efforts the city undertook to verify and confirm these requisite percentages or the signatures provided. It appears, based on the information provided to the county, that the application was approved by the city council on the same day it was received at 9 o'clock in the morning. We understand that the city has created a new zoning category for the annexed properties that would keep county zoning in place for a period after annexation. The city has set a public hearing on this proposed annexation for December 14th, and as we understand it, it will be considered potentially for approval on December 19th. The county is still within our potential objection window, so we are looking at every piece of paper that we have received from the city, as well as the effects of this new zoning category. The county has also received information from members of the public and representatives of concerned municipalities elsewhere in the county, and we are looking at all that information very seriously. We're also aware of recent press coverage of this annexation application in papers like Decatur-ish filed a story today. So the county is still in the process of reviewing all this information to ensure that any annexation that moves forward fully complies with state law and that the voice of every affected citizen is heard. I want to point out again that the 60% method of annexation is the only method of annexation available where there isn't either a vote or a requirement that 100% of those affected have consented. There's no ability to record a no vote in the 60% method. So it's very important to the county leadership that everyone's voice is heard in this process. There's no way to vote no. All you can do is consent. And so what we're doing is taking every effort we know how to take to confirm that those consents are there and that all the provisions of Georgia law are complied with before this annexation moves forward.
right, so that's sort of the legal background on annexation. Clearly, there are lots of opinions on annexation for or against, and what I'd like to do is ultimately hand the microphone over to some residents. Just for clarity, the expectation is as people use the podium that's over there, I'll bring it over here. Sorry. We want to open up the microphone so that residents can actually speak and engage on this topic. And so give me just one moment and we'll have that happen. Before we get into that section, I do want to make some acknowledgments. And again, once again, our CEO, Michael Thurman, is here. I do want to acknowledge in alphabetical order. We have members of the Chambly City Council here. I don't know if you guys want to stand up to be acknowledged, but they're here. A little bit further, there you go. A little bit further back, we have members of the Doraville City Council that are here as well. And if you guys want to stand up to be acknowledged, you're welcome to do that. And I believe we have someone from City of Tucker here as well. Is that correct? And if you're here still, stand up to be acknowledged. Mr. John McHenry. All right, with that being said, I guess whoever the gentleman is in the back there, if you'd like to come on up here, and let's get the, is that the microphone that we're going to have available? All right, sir, if you wouldn't mind come up. We don't have, I think we have some time, so we'll say we have 4 minutes on the clock, if that's all right. And then 2 minutes, pardon me, we'll give 2 minutes on the clock. And please go ahead with your question.
I would like to thank the county for coming today. I want to encourage the county to please push back on this effort for a lot of reasons. I published a YouTube video. You can do a search. My rights will not be violated tonight. You can go to YouTube, do a search for Chambly harassment annexation. It's only 1 minute and 12 seconds. Friends, that is our neighbors in the petitioner admitting to harassing and intimidating residents to sign the form. I knew at the time when they came to my house, we don't want to listen to Jean-Pierre right now. I knew at the time there was 3 or 4 of the residents on my street that were complaining about being intimidated and harassed into signing the petition. The funny thing is, a camera is the only objective arbiter of truth. If I had to come to this audience today to tell you that the petitioner and the people that they hired to sign were admitting to going to people's houses 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times to get them to sign, you would all be ashamed to put your name on that petition. Listen, we live in a free society. Everyone deserves to be heard. The petitioner and those who are going about trying to get people's name on the signatures, as you mentioned, sir, don't have to tell you anything. They don't have to say no. And by not answering the door, it's a pretty good hint. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Who else do we have that would want to come up and speak? Please, sir.
My name's Russell Spornberger. I live at 3456 Embry Circle. I've lived in DeKalb County for 34 years. I've lived in Embry Hills for 18 of those years. You know, we should not even be having this meeting tonight. And I'm going to try to explain why I say that. The annexation application states that there are 1,170 registered voters in the area. Thus, a 60% annexation would require 702 yes votes to pass. The annexation application states that 723 yes votes were made, but the applicant did not provide a list that shows and tallies each vote. Instead, 734 documents are included in the voter signatures section of the application. Of these documents, only 562 are petitions of a registered voter requesting annexation into Chambly. So without objections, the total number of yes votes possible is limited to 562. That's it. That's all you got. Thus, a simple count of the registered voter petitions disqualifies this application. The applicant's claim that 723 yes votes were made is false. I have reported my findings to Mayor Mock and Chambly City Council members. I've urged them to reject the application. To his credit, Mayor Mock has met with me in my home about the proposed annexation. He has followed up on our meeting to let me know that his team says the application is valid. Really? The application should not have made it past the desk of Chambly's city manager.
We're limiting everyone to 2 minutes, so I appreciate your comments for coming up.
I thought we had 4.
We decided to go with 2.
Go to 2. All right. Thank you for hearing me out.
If you'd like, we can take your comments, though, and have those available for the public to review later on if you'd like. All right. Who else do we have next? If you like, please come on up to the microphone. All right. I'll talk with our audiovisual team to see if we can do that. All right, how about we turn the microphone towards the audience, and then whoever would like to come up and speak next, please come on up and speak.
Hi. I'd like another 2 minutes, please.
One time.
It's okay. I mean, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times, right?
Respectfully.
I'll take 2.
We want to allow different people to come up at a time. Okay. All right. Thank you, Zach.
So you see, this is how it works. It's okay for them to come to your house 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times.
Okay. Okay. All right. We're going to work with staff and see if we can get the audio repaired. Is it any clearer? This mic you can hear. Okay, we'll use this mic going forward. Is there anyone else that would like to, sir?
My name is Raz Schwartz. With my wife, Robin, at 3602 Embry Circle. The information that was provided with the definition that was on the website for this annexation indicating that the city of Chambly will add to their services of police cars, inspectors, trucks, and truck inspectors. However, I do not know if they'll be able to take that over immediately once this whole thing goes down. If ownership of services the county and by the city, they have we can't have now. They have a good place to be sick. Full annexation. So fine.
All right, thank you very much. Is there anyone else that'd like to have an opportunity to speak to the audience this evening? All right. This is...
Yeah. So, as you all have heard, I'm the fella that signed the application. And I'll let you all know that I've been on the city council for a little over 2 years now, probably 3 years. no, excuse me, Civic Association. And we've had an opportunity to hear from a lot of the residents about the condition of our community. In many places, it's very blighted. We have roads that have not been cared for quite some time. I can't tell you the last time I saw, no offense, a police officer sitting on Chambly Tucker where people go 50 and 60 miles an hour down the street, right? And I can go on and on. I have culverts on my street that are unsafe to stand on that have been reported year after year after year. The bottom line is, for me, this is about finding a new vendor. Okay, I've got a vendor who's not providing me the services that are being provided elsewhere, and the taxes I'm paying for are not clearly covering those services for my neighborhood. I need a new vendor. None of you would keep a yard service who doesn't give you the same level of service that they do to the neighbor next door. You would fire that yard service and get a new one. That's all I got to say.
Just because I have seen this happen before, when someone is speaking, let's not do any applauding or clapping until they're finished. At the end of the day, I want everybody to have an opportunity to speak up and be heard. So, sir, if you would, please go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to add a little bit more on, Robert Burek, 3226 Alton Road. Been here 13 years. Came from a small city of 45,000 then. It's probably 55 now. Our taxes were a little bit higher than what we have in DeKalb County, but we got services. You call for a cop, and again, nothing will find people in blue. I was an auxiliary police officer, so I know what they go through. But you call a cop, and he's there within 5 minutes. Again, our budget was higher. We had plenty of cops. We had plenty of firemen and so on. But to go add on to what Bill just said, there's been times that we haven't had a yard waste pickup. Sometimes it's 2 weeks. You call and, well, you know, we're shorthanded. I realize that. But let's get these people some money so they'll stay. And again, the stuff gets put out to the curb, rains, the stuff falls over, you got a mess on your hands to clean up. You know, this is unacceptable. Do we get a rebate when they fail to come by every week? I don't think so. I never heard. Maybe Mr. Thurman can tell us, but I'm just totally disgusted with the way this is operating.
Thank you. So I would like to add, the reason I ended up running for county commission, because as some of you know, I was a Doraville councilman, I was concerned about the quality of service that we were getting from the county. And when I drove into the Pleasantdale, Embry Hills areas in particular, it looked like it had been abandoned. And that's probably at least 10, 20 years that it looks like it's been like that. I've been in office for 3 years. 3 years. It takes time. Unfortunately, it does take time. I will let you know that we have done improvements along Chambly Tucker Road. There is a beautification project that was approved. The CEO's office worked to get that put together. There's also been the sidewalk improvements that have been happening, eliminating all the trip hazards that are along the sidewalks within District 1 unincorporated DeKalb County. That was about an $85,000 project. Unfortunately, it does take time to get a bureaucracy up to expectations, and we're still working on that. And literally, as I said, when I drove through this area as a Doraville councilman and as a plain old citizen, it looked like this area had not been taken care of. That's what I've been doing. And it still needs help. I absolutely agree with you. It takes time. If you were to join any city, Tucker, Doraville, Chambly, Brookhaven, they have a livable centers initiative plan. That plan is something that Chambly's been working on. Excuse me. That plan is something that Chambly's been working on since, I believe, 2003. Downtown Chambly is beautiful. Brookhaven, Dresden Drive, beautiful. It takes time and it takes money to do that. The old saying that Rome wasn't built in a day is just as true then as it is now. And it does take time to get the bureaucracy to have the dollars allocated back into the district. That's what I've been doing. Pleasantdale Park. We're going to have about, Mr. CEO, if the budget supports it, there's probably about $1.5 million ask for revamping that park. I have another $750,000 of ARP money that I'm going to be putting into that park. But it takes time for these things to come to fruition. And so I agree. I share your opinions. It is frustrating. Please know, we also got Henderson Mill Road paved. And it was from concerned citizens like yourselves who were complaining that I went to the CEO of our county and our chief operating officer and said, listen guys, this matters. These people are relevant, they're important. And we've got 20 years of apathy that we're having to address. So with that said, Mr. CEO.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Michael Thurman. I'm the CEO, very proud CEO of DeKalb County, Georgia. And I was elected by all the citizens, incorporated, unincorporated, 71% of the vote 7 years ago, with a very clear mandate to address issues that had festered for 30+ years. The number one issue, of course, was addressing our water and sewer system. Over 7 years, we've invested $1.2 billion in this system. You know, we often look at the shiny new buildings and the new developments. We don't really focus on fixing and improving our infrastructure. We have reduced sewer spills over the last 4 years by 79% in DeKalb County, Georgia. We talked about police officers. Our police officer was one of the most underpaid departments in the Southeast. I'm proud to stand here tonight to say that because of the investment from taxpayers and the Board of Commissioners, we now have one of the highest paid police departments in the Southeast United States, and they do an outstanding job in what they do. It's one thing, and you know this, sir, it's one thing to criticize, it's something else to put your life on the line. Right. And I've had the heartbreaking responsibility to attend a funeral of one of my officers who was killed in the line of duty. So during the pandemic, when all of us sheltered in place, they didn't go home. Our fire department didn't go home. But I didn't come to talk about that. What I want to say to each and every one of you is that we are going to invest every dollar we have to ensure that this petition meets every requirement that the law requires. Well, no, I'm going to respond to what has been placed in our responsibility. No one can honestly say that we don't have a better county government than we had in 2017. Also, you are the beneficiaries. The homeowners here over the last 6 years have received $700 million in homeowner tax relief. Now, back in the old days, that was an applause line. People would applaud that if you gave, back in the old days, but I guess that doesn't count. And because of your support on November the 7th, over the next 6 years, DeKalb homeowners, including in Embry Hills, will receive a part of $1 billion in property tax relief. $1 billion. One of the reasons the roads were so bad is DeKalb County was the last county in the state of Georgia to get a SPLOST. Did you know that? And it shows, and in 2017, you supported the first SPLOST in the history of our county. And as a result of that, we are investing with our cities over $450 million in resurfacing and paving our streets. But let me tell you why DeKalb was the last county in the state of Georgia to get a SPLOST. because we, collectively we, couldn't build a consensus. The folk on the north side didn't trust the people on the south side. The people on the south side didn't trust the folk on the north side. The city folk didn't like the unincorporated folk. We pointed fingers. We made accusations against each other. And at the end of the day, we all suffered. But what we were able to do in 17 was to build a consensus. 3 weeks ago, on election day, 77% of the people voted for the $1 billion in tax relief. 75% of the voters voted for a new SPLOS. See, and people told me, said, Mike, they'll never get done because the black folk won't trust the white folk, and the white folk won't trust the white folk, and the North won't. But you know what? I pursue better angels. I believe in the best of what we can and will become. So what I'm saying to you for those, and by the way, the petition is not to succeed from DeKalb County. Secession didn't work in 1861, it ain't gonna work now. So whether you're in a city or a county, guess who your CEO is? It's me. I get just as much pride riding through Doraville, where we work with the city of Doraville to create Assembly, a $600 million project that's creating 4,000 jobs, and I see my friends here from Doraville. I get just as much pride riding through Doraville and Decatur. I live in Tucker. I work in Decatur. I ride through unincorporated to get there. So whatever's going to happen, and I'll stop, we are going to look at it with a fine-tooth comb. If there's not 60% of electors who've signed yes, we're going to fight it. I'm just saying, that's it. If there are not 60% of property owners who signed it, we're going to fight it. If it passes, I'm still going to be your CEO. Robert will still be your county commissioner. Yeah, you can applaud for that too. I mean, he'll still be your county commissioner. And guess what county you're going to live in? That's not going to change. So here we are, and we'll do better. As I recall, we sent our roads and drainage people all through Embry Hills. No one mentioned that. Did anybody notice them there about a month ago? No, but you know why? You know why? Rather than pointing fingers, someone just sit down and said, Mike, Robert, can we do better? The $600,000 we're investing in Shamlin Tucker Road right now has been on the drawing board for 2 years. I'll come to your question. But it's not just Shamlin Tucker. We are beautifying DeKalb County all over. And what you all may not recognize it, but DeKalb County is being celebrated all across this nation because of the work that we are doing with you, working with our city leaders, working with our county leaders to build a better community. So what happens here with this petition is irrelevant to me. I'm still going to get up and do my job as CEO. I didn't run for CEO of unincorporated DeKalb. I didn't run for CEO of incorporated DeKalb. I ran for CEO of DeKalb County, Georgia, and thanks to you all, I carried every precinct. So for those who are petitioning, I wish you well. But the only thing I share with you is that if it does not meet the qualifications, and we've received some very disturbing news that it doesn't, then we are going to oppose it. And then I'm going to reach out to you and say, all right, how can we continue to do a better job for you, unincorporated? Is that fair? I ain't mad at nobody. I'm really not. I got one more year in this job. And I tell folks, it's like I'm in the fourth quarter and I got 2 minutes on the clock. But I got 3 timeouts in my back pocket, so I'm gonna be here for a while, working for you every day. I got a great relationship with the folk in Chamblee. Brian Mock, I consider him a friend. I've had this conversation with Council Lady there. We're gonna do what's best for all the citizens of DeKalb County. And that's it. And let us just go through the process, let the process play out. And we're gonna make sure that people's votes are protected. Chamblee passed a resolution, I don't know whether you all know this last week, and I'll let Chamblee speak to it. They're going to district voting, because I believe that the system that's in place now hurts the voting power of minority citizens. And let's give Chamblee a hand, because they have decided to change how they actually elect. Is that fair? Is that fair, Madam Council Lady? So thank you for that, but we are going to just let the process play out. Is that good? When? I'm sorry. Well, the assistant county attorney laid it out. There's an administrative process, and then there could be legal challenges in court. It could take years, to be quite honest with you. It really could. Let me just be fair. It just could. It could. It really could. Because everyone, for it or against it, deserves the right to have their voices protected and heard. Yes, ma'am.
Is it okay to make a comment now? Okay. Well, I don't know if I need this, because I'm really just talking mostly to you guys.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Well, here's the thing. This neighborhood in the 90s, Chamblee Tucker Road was widened. It was a 2-lane, tree-lined road, and it became a 4-lane major thoroughfare at this point. One of the conditions of talking with the people that were widening, because we actually marched and protested against it, but they said that they would landscape the medians and maintain them. That was, they said they would maintain, that they would landscape and maintain all of the medians along Chamblee Tucker Road when they widened it. They said they would routinely maintain and take care of it. Be beautiful forever. The Civic Association worked with DeKalb County. We adopted I-85 to 285. We've got a little sign. One of them, the Keep DeKalb, adopt a road. One of them actually says Embry Hills Civic Association underneath. They never got around to putting the other little sign. But I'm just flabbergasted that, as you're, like the cheerleading meeting that you had at the library for SPLOS and EHOS, where you said, oh, we got this beautiful thing that's going to happen on Chamblee Tucker Road. Surprise, surprise, you're going to love it. Well, you ripped out 30-plus-year-old trees, and you never maintained it to begin with. So did you just say that the county spent $600,000 on Chamblee Tucker Road? But why did you rip down? But you were the one who had it all ripped out, and we spent $600,000 more to replant it? Instead of maintaining it for 30 years, it was just easier to scrape it all off. I mean, I don't get, that's not fiscal responsibility in my mind. I mean, that's just one of many things. We've got a blighted corner of Henderson Mill and Chamblee Tucker Road. Those 2 corners have been, did I run over my 2 minutes?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And people have different opinions. We have 800,000 residents, and not all of them agree. No. In a democracy,
CEO.
no, let me finish.
Yes, sir. Yeah, but no. Let me finish. No one, not me or anybody else, can change 30 years of neglect in 7 years. You know what? Let me finish. Just sit down. No, ma'am. Let him hear. Be respectful. Be respectful. I understand. But look, this is my first meeting, so y'all can't be mad at me yet. So this is my first meeting. So what we're doing, we're building. We're building all across this county. We're paving. We have paved approximately 250 miles of streets and roads in the last 6 years that haven't been paved in more than 3 decades. And see, I get it. We don't necessarily want to say it or acknowledge it. What's the street that's right off that runs by Kroger that I just got on?
Chambly Tucker Road?
No.
Henderson Mill Road.
Henderson Mill. Didn't we just pave it? No, that's not true. No, that's not true. That's because we voted for the first SPLOS in the history of DeKalb County in 2017. Up until that point, you had no money to do resurfacing. That's why you see resurfacing now that you've not seen before. It's purely and totally the result of us passing a 1-cent sales tax for capital improvements. Ma'am? Well, it can. If the voters vote against it, it will go away. You can vote against e-host and you can vote against SPLOS. No one is forced to vote for either one of those. You can. You could vote for one and not the other, but guess what happens in a representative democracy?
We're about to find out.
The majority of the people actually get to make the determination. Sometimes you're in the majority and sometimes you're not. It's just that simple.
Thank you, sir. This is what equal opportunity looks like. Friends, I have never had a problem with the DeKalb County Police coming to a response, ever. No, I'm not kidding you. I have never. I'm gonna take another 3 minutes if you keep it up, sir. May I finish, please? I've called just a couple of weeks ago. I have never had a response take more than 3 or 4 minutes from these people, ever. I don't lie. I'm standing right here in a church building, sir.
Paul, let me have the microphone 1 second. 1 second. Respectfully, everyone, I would ask, everyone is going to have an opportunity to speak. Sir, please, wait your turn. I acknowledge that you're there. Everyone will have an opportunity to speak who chooses to speak. But please, let's have some courtesy and let one speaker speak at a time. Please, and again, we're under the 2 minutes.
Thank you. I have never had a problem with code enforcement showing up, ever. 2 of my neighbors learned very carefully that they better cut their grass. 9-foot weeds between my house and my neighbor next door. Do you know how long, sir, it took for code enforcement to show up? 15 minutes. There was a neighbor across the street pouring concrete, fixing to dump the concrete through the sewage into the live stream. Do you know how long it took the sewage and drainage department to come out? 7.5 minutes. I have never had any problem with any services here, and the best service that is provided by DeKalb County, in my opinion, is the sanitation department. They are the bomb. Thank you. I just documented it for you, sir. Have a good day.
If you would, please be respectful, one speaker at a time. Sir, did you want to say something? Please come on up. Respectfully, I ask you to please be polite. But if you would, because
I'm Christian. I'm Brian's husband. So now that we got
listen.
Okay, here
TV is recording this.
All right. Hi, for Brian the mayor. We've met. So for Paul Manor, I have some aluminum foil for you, specifically for you, because you videotaped the one time that somebody came to you, then you come here and you claim 6, 7 times, but there's actually no footage of those 6 and 7 times, only the one time that they actually came to you. So there is this for you and your friends. So, no.
Paul, please
No.
sit down.
No.
Please sit down.
No. They came to you, you videotaped this, you put it on YouTube, and now you're claiming that they harassed you, but there's literally only 1.5 minute section of footage of what was going on. Then on the other hand, can you people raise your hands that are actually here from this area that is supposed to be annexed? So the people that are in here, can the ones that are actually to be annexed or from Chambly raise their hands? So who are the other people in here? Who are the other people in here? And why are you so invested and involved through DCAP Strong's Facebook page to oppose this? Why? Why? Why did this entire thing start off with the attorney come to the meeting? What? Well, it did start with this. Did you not come and you say this was because it's not at large, it should be denied?
I'll tell you what. You had 2 minutes. I appreciate you coming up.
Didn't the other ones have 4 minutes?
You're passionate on this, but we don't want to, we're losing people. Give me just 1 second. I do have a resident that wants to ask a question. And again, 2 minutes, please.
Gotcha. Can you hear me with the microphone or better without?
If you keep the microphone, people on DCTV who are in this.
Oh, I'm sorry, TV. For TV purposes, I guess. I just wanted to say, I'm Susan on Power Springs. I live on Bel Air Circle, and we're part of the neighborhood that is the connective tissue between Chambly and Embry Hills. And I think we were needed in order to have that, is contiguity a word? I don't know. But what I just want to represent our neighborhood. We did sign the petition. We found the person who came around, lovely, very informative, gave us lots of information. I did not feel harassed. I felt like I was being treated like a citizen. But what I wanted to say is, the reason we signed the petition is that we want the best for our neighborhood. We want the best for the people that live in our neighborhood. And we want to be associated with whatever city, county services will provide us with the best. So I don't have a dog in the fight in terms of, I love Doraville, I love Chambly. I've been in DeKalb County for many, many years and have been very active in DeKalb County when I was younger. But you know, the thing to me, and I understand this process is going to be tough and rife with controversy and the fact that we're not getting to vote on it, people are feeling left out. But the point to me is that every citizen, you know, whether it's DeKalb County upping their game and providing us the services that many of us have not felt were adequate and timely enough, or if it's a city that wants to take us on and give us what we're not getting now, I'm all for however it happens. So.
All right. Thank you very much. Only 2 minutes. Do you have something you'd like to add?
Yes. Just a couple minutes here. Thank you, Commissioner. 2 minutes, yes, sir. Got a big, loud New York voice. I think you all can hear me okay. My name's John McHenry. I'm the Deputy City Manager for the City of Tucker. And we are opposed to the annexation for the area that is outside of 285. So talking about Embry Village Shopping Center. We just don't, that is part of the original map of Tucker. And that is a large commercial area there, obviously with the shopping center, but does not include the adjacent residential. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, the City of Tucker is opposed. Right. Because of 2 reasons. One, it's part of the original map of the city of Tucker, which was originally submitted to the legislature 7 years ago, but also because the commercial is looking to be annexed, but the adjoining residential is not.
All right, thank you very much. Ma'am, did you want to add anything? All right, and again, 2 minutes.
I just wanted to say something as a current citizen of Chamblee and one who was annexed in. When we bought our home, we were not part of the city of Chamblee. Our annexation was done through vote, so it was very clear and open and transparent who wanted to be part of the city of Chamblee. My concerns are the legitimacy of the document that's been presented. I also have concerns with the borders that have been proposed, and they don't make a lot of sense when you just look at them on the map. And so my concern is that things were done in a way that wasn't really inclusive to the entire area that is part of the unincorporated DeKalb County, that is not part of the city, that is in this area, that is Tucker and Doraville and Chamblee. And those are my concerns. But if it does pass and you guys do become a part of Chamblee, we would welcome you.
Thank you very much. Councilwoman?
I wasn't going to say anything, but I was talking with Michael back here, and he said, go up and say this. Why don't we just put this for a vote? I mean, the normal way of annexing in areas is to do a referendum. And then the voters could go and vote yes or no. And when you have this 60% rule thing, it's never been done this way until this last little Rosetta Stone thing. The city of Chamblee hired these people to go out and get the signatures. Then they're like, oh, we're accepting the signatures, when they were the ones that collected them. And it all just feels wrong to me. And I'm trying to speak more as a resident and not a city council person tonight, that I just feel that this is the wrong way to do this. And anyway, that's really what I got to say is just put it up for a vote.
All right, thank you. Yes, sir. You're famous.
I don't know about that. My name's Van. I'm an existing Chamblee City resident. I was in the first annexation Chamblee did, the back half of Huntley Hills and the Motor Mile on Peachtree Boulevard. So I get it. I get why you want to be part of Chamblee. It's a great city. I don't blame you. You have the same reasons why we wanted to be annexed in. We did vote on it. So as Steffi said, I mean, that seems like the right way to do it. I've lived in the Chamblee area pretty much my whole life. I grew up down Windsor Parkway. My very first job, a salary job in the 80s, was in Chamblee Plaza, so I've always been around. And you know, there's a reason why the Dresden East neighborhoods wanted to be annexed in, and the Huntley Hills, you know, neighborhood wanted to be annexed in. And there's a reason why we call Chamblee the actual center of the universe. So, you know, if y'all come into Chamblee, I'll be the first one to welcome you and say, hey, welcome as a Chamblee citizen. But as Steffi said, this doesn't feel right. You know, the Dresden East neighborhoods voted on it. It's a little disconcerting when he said this is the largest 60% method in state history. That doesn't feel good at all. So I'm asking maybe, and it also was a little upsetting to the existing Chamblee citizens that found out at the last minute that the city had been spending $11,000 a month for a year. They never, you know, really informed us of that. Not that there's anything wrong with them getting a consulting firm, but maybe tell the citizens about it. So maybe we need to take a step back and regroup and say, all right, let's get the state to put it on the ballot, let y'all vote on it. I'm sure y'all will vote yes, and take it from there. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Van. Appreciate you coming up. All right. Old friend, Mr. Nasser, please.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Embry Nasser. I'm a former Doraville City Council man. I wanted to tell you all what I've seen here the survey was done, that way it was done, it was incorrect. Because I don't see none of my people, none of the minority communities here. Period. It is not done correctly, and you guys, City of Chambly did not reach out to those minority people. If they did, they misinformed. They're not with this survey. I'm telling you, and I know that for sure, and I represent them. I don't know how you guys feel. That's different. I do not see any of my people here. There is no minority community in this room. So fix it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am. Again, 2 minutes, please.
Hi, I'm Jane Goodwin. My husband and my family have lived in Chambly for 20 years now. I'm not definitely opposed to the annexation. I have to think about, but 2 reasons I'm really concerned is, one, Mr. Welch, is it? He was mentioning the qualifications were to have so many electors sign the petition. And I understand this is what I heard was the city council accepted the application the same day that they saw the signatures and they were not verified. And number 2, I don't know that there's the budget in the Chambly city to have the services that would be needed. So that's a concern.
Okay, thank you very much for your input. Yes, ma'am. And again, please keep it to 2 minutes.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'm Andrea Orzakowski. Can you understand me? Okay. I'm on Bel Air Circle. Been there for 18 years. And I signed the petition. I would have signed it 10 times if I could have. The reason is I want what's best, what I think is best for the neighborhood. I want better services. I want police presence. I never see a DeKalb County police officer in our neighborhood, ever. I want better code enforcement. I want green space maintenance. I want, we are a unincorporated island. And you know what? Sidewalks, the only people I see walking on Chambly Tucker are ne'er-do-wells and streetwalkers from those hotels down there on 285. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for your comments. Sir, 2 minutes, please.
Can I speak in the sound? Does it sound okay? My name is Aaron Quinn. I live on Barkside Court. I've been there for 20 years. Unlike a bunch of you, I have some complaints about the county, but not as much. Apparently I'm lucky, or my street's lucky. I don't know what that is. With the exception of the yard waste this past year, which was not addressed. However, DeKalb County Sanitation sent a letter stating they were short on help. The answer, it was taken care of. It has not happened since. I consider that a whiny issue anyway. It wasn't house waste, it was yard waste. I am against the procedure of how this is done. That is my major complaint. If we are to be incorporated in the city, I believe it should be a vote. That's just the way it should be. I also am against the map. It's convoluted, it's very selective, and I do believe it was picked so they could choose 60% to make this happen. If you want it to be true, it should be all full open, full vote. If my neighbors vote yes, then I'm with it. If they vote no, I'm with that as well. For those of you who've been here a long enough time, we had city referendums on Lakeside, Vista Grove, and each time they were turned down. Okay, for specific reasons. Again, in this case, but we got to vote. I think it should have to vote. If we can't vote on it, it shouldn't pass. Thank you.
What street was that you live on? Barkside. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Hey, 2 minutes if it's all right.
Hello, my name is Kathy. I was born at Embry University. I went all through the DeKalb County school system. I've lived in Embry Hills since I was 5 years old, and that's a long time ago. But I was concerned about the upkeep of the median on Chambly Tucker Road. It looked horrible, and it's like, why did DeKalb County suddenly start cleaning it up when Chambly starts nosing around wanting to annex us? Since 2017, I think the CEO said he's been working for us. Well, why is it the last year, boom, we get a nice median now? And I'm also concerned when I fought against widening of Chambly Tucker Road back, but okay, got done. But part of the agreement was they would maintain the creek that runs through Embry Hills and goes into the Mercer University area, that they would dig out the silt and keep it from flooding our neighborhood. DeKalb doesn't do that anymore. They quit digging out the silt that fills up in the creek. So maybe Chambly will, I don't know. But it's amazing how this year, when Chambly starts poking around wanting us to join, DeKalb, boom, we got a nice, and it is beautiful. I thank you for that. But why did it take so long? And I'm also concerned about speeders at 2 or 3 in the morning on Chambly Tucker Road, no police doing anything. And it keeps, I live 3 houses down from Chambly Tucker Road, and it keeps you awake, and there's been nothing done about those speeders.
Listen. When it comes to the improvements that have been happening, as I said, when I was a candidate running for office, when I drove through this community, when I drove through Pleasantdale, North Crest area, the area looked like it had been abandoned. It looked like nobody was paying attention to it. And from my perspective, it looks like it had been at least a decade, possibly 2 decades, that there just had not been the attention put into the community. I was elected in 2020, took office January 21st, January 2021. That's what I've been working on literally since day one. Your comments have been heard by the Chief of Police. We have the Chief Operating Officer here as well. We also have the County Attorney, and I have been listening as well. I will do my best, but ultimately the choice is yours if you choose to go with Chambly or stay with DeKalb County. I forgot your name, I'm sorry. Elmer?
Yes, we've met a few times.
We've met a few times.
It's good to see you. Thanks for having us. So, for those who don't know me, my name is Elmer Veith. I am the District 4 Council Member for City of Chambly. I was elected in 2021. My main community service thing before that was that in 2013, I was one of the residents that led the last annexation effort to the City of Chambly. I want to talk about that a little bit because I hear people saying they don't feel that the 60% method is fair. Oh, no problem, I got it. For some reference, in 2013, roughly 16,000 residents joined the City of Chambly through a referendum method annexation. 16,000 people. There were 3,000 eligible voters. Of that, 1,051 turned out for the election, and 600 and some odd voted in favor, which got us through. We got 60%. There we go. Well, there's that number again. Property owners had no say. For those who are around, you may remember there was a little bit of a lawsuit between Century Center and the City of Chambly because they were trying to join Brookhaven because they thought they'd get a better deal as far as zoning and representation. The 60% method is a much higher threshold to make an annexation happen than a referendum. I would love a referendum. I think referendums are great because the reality is it's the engaged citizens that make the decision. It's not a passive process. You have a small number of people that are going to get interested and are going to turn out. The 60% method requires much more engagement. Property owners have a say in the matter as well as voters.
And it gives you a much bigger picture of what the area as a whole wants. The maps look convoluted because you know what? There are areas that just don't want to come in because you have commercial property owners who don't want to deal with the city because they don't want to deal with stronger code enforcement. They don't want to deal with the things that come along with being part of a city. The apartment properties were left out. They would not let people come onto their property and talk to their residents. Chambly would love to have those residents as part of our city. We would love to provide them the level of service that the rest of our citizens get. So, just some perspective when people say that 60% method isn't fair. Thank you.
All right, and just as a reminder, it's 7:51 in 2 minutes. Okay?
You got it. Thanks. So my name is Paul Stovall. I'm a District 3 council member for City of Chambly. I have only been at this for 1 year now. So I'm going to say probably stupid stuff, but so I'm really happy all y'all showed up for this. My area annexed into Chambly. We were the last ones to do it, and it was a great experience. We did, as he said, the referendum method. But it's just times like this, election years and times like annexations is when everybody from the government shows up. That's when you have our attention. So this is great. I'm so glad there's so many people, and there were more people earlier. I just look forward to, we're going to have our public meeting on the 14th and then go from there. So just thank y'all for showing up, and I look forward to talking with some of y'all later and maybe representing y'all next year. Cheers.
Yep, thank you. Okay, make it quick, please.
Mr. Walsh, is it Welch? You mentioned that people can still withdraw from the application process. Can people opt in? So it's only a one-way path. Okay. So if all signatures have to be obtained within a year, why is it people can still withdraw? Okay. All right.
All right. 2 minutes.
Thank you. I'm Rebecca Perkins, Embry Circle. I voted yes in February of this year. There are advantages to being in Chambly, and I recognize those, but that's really not the issue to me tonight. The issue is this process of Chambly initiating this process in June of 2022 and us finding out that Chambly initiated it 2 weeks ago. And there was no public announcement, there was no invitation on their part to participate from them with the beginning. We did, the Embry Hill Civic Association hosted a meeting with some of the members, and they did not have a presentation for us, nor did they say that they were the initiators of the process, that they had started it. And there was this question all along of who initiated this. No one here tonight has taken that on. And that person may be here, I don't know. But I do know I don't like the 60% method. I think the law needs to be changed. It's confusing. I don't understand it. I don't understand the 60% of land. Do they survey a big area and then just try to figure out what part of that is 60%? I just don't really understand the process. And I think this application speaks to that because there are problems with this application and the number of votes, which I hope will get your total attention between now and December 14th. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, everyone, it is 7:55. The promise was 8 o'clock. And unless there's anything else new to be added or anyone else that has a final opinion or comment, I would say thank you very much for your time. Thank you to the elected officials that came out here. Again, in alphabetical order, City of Chambly, City of Doraville, City of Tucker, as well as to our staff for spending their night with us as well. And to all of you, again, thanks for coming out on a Thursday night to hang out and argue about politics. Thank you.